글로벌 금융시장에서 150년 이상 역사를 자랑하는 골드만삭스는 투자, 은행, 증권거래, 자산관리 등 다양한 분야에서 세계적인 선두 기업으로 자리 잡고 있습니다. 2024년 2월 2일 기준 시장 자본금은 약 1,200억 달러로 전 세계 은행 중 12위, 미국 은행 중 4위를 차지하고 있으며 지난 3년간 골드만삭스의 연간 평균 수익은 약 220억 달러로 전 세계 은행 중 5위, 미국 은행 중 3위를 기록하며 뛰어난 수익성을 보여주었습니다. 골드만삭스의 아시아 태평양 지역 주식 전략 책임자이자 아시아 태평양 매크로 리서치 공동 책임자인 티모시 모가 한국 시장에 주목하고 있습니다. 티모시 모는 작년부터 블룸버그 파이낸스에 출연하여 아시아 시장에서 특히 한국을 주목한다고 밝혔으며 최근 CNBC와의 인터뷰에서는 현재 한국에 대한 투자 가치는 매우 높다고 판단한다 라고 말했습니다. 그가 한국 시장에 높은 관심을 표명한 이유 함께 살펴보겠습니다.
Looking just at the very early open for Asia this morning, I think particularly Korea, I saw it just turned green, and obviously it's just a couple of minutes of trading, but the key point here is that Korea being a very deep cyclical, you would expect to have an even more heightened reaction than the U.S. It hasn't. Why? I think because Asia somewhat pre-traded some of that. Korea was down 12% in dollar terms from the year-end close to the recent January low. Rebounded a little bit, but the key point here is I think that you've already gotten some of that uncertainty into share prices there. There's other reasons why we like Korea, but I think the somewhat more muted reaction of Asia at the open here, I think, is incrementally encouraging from an Asian equity perspective.
All right, one of the main reasons you like Korea right now is you think that earnings growth is probably going to be the strongest in this part of the world this year.
Oh, that's exactly right. So we think the investment case for Korea right now is actually really good, and it's probably our strongest and most out of consensus idea that we have. Okay. And this is something that we were mentioning during our macro conference in Hong Kong last week, which is our annual very large gathering of investors. And when we spoke about, obviously, China and Japan and India, those were well-desired topics of conversation. Korea was not picked up as strongly or much at all. So we think that the market attention is actually away from Korea, and we would encourage people to refocus on it for two key reasons. One, as I said, the market's down a lot, and we think it's got the strongest earnings recovery this year, driven by semiconductors. So we're looking for about 60% recovery in earnings after a very, very disappointing 2023.
What kind of earnings growth will that turn into?
60%, 60. Yeah. No, I mean, that's a lot. The market, we think the earnings probably were down close to 40% last year, so it's just recovering.
It's a low bottom base.
Yeah, exactly. It's a low base, but markets trade momentum, and we think there's some very strong momentum, which is already beginning to show up in some of the fourth quarter numbers, and will continue into the early part of this year. And then reason number two, which is very fresh, which we just published on and getting a lot of incoming interest on, is that there's more momentum to the longer burning fuse of Korean corporate governance improvement, and that working to close the long-standing and well-understood Korean valuation discount versus Asian peers and global peers. And the key incremental story here is that Korea looks like it's following Japan's playbook of the TSE, Tokyo Stock Exchange, encouraging companies to improve their corporate governance and their returns in order to revalue themselves. Whereas in Korea, Korea now looks like it's beginning to emulate some of that, the so-called Value Up program, which has been announced. And given the fact that more than half the market trades below book value, there's an opportunity for some re-rating.
티모시 모의 주요 포인트들을 정리해보면 다음과 같습니다. 아시아 시장, 특히 주기성이 강한 한국 시장은 일부 불확실성이 사전 반영된 듯 조용한 반응을 보였습니다. 이는 아시아 주식 전망의 긍정적인 신호로 해석됩니다. 반도체 주도로 한국은 올해 가장 강력한 수익 증가가 예상되며 현재 시장은 한국 시장에 대한 관심이 적어 투자 기회가 풍부합니다. 2023년 실적 부진 이후 60% 수준의 수익 회복이 예상되며 기업 지배 개선과 재평가 가능성으로 인해 긍정적인 모멘텀이 지속될 것으로 예상됩니다. 영상을 시청해 주셔서 감사합니다. 한국 시장의 호조로운 한 해를 기대하며 저는 이만 마치겠습니다. 영상이 도움이 되셨다면 구독과 좋아요를 부탁드립니다.